Hello, and welcome to Indigo. It's your second year, so many of you already know who I am. In the beginning, what we learned was how to hold the instrument, how to make a sound, and how to work together. Well, in Indigo, we're still working on those things: how to hold the instrument, how to make great sounds, and how to work together. Now, of course, this year is 2020. Everything's remote, everything's a little bit different, but here are some of the ways that we're working on that. Number one, WebEx does allow for some things that are harder to do in the classroom. If we're in the classroom, we're all holding instruments. We don't have desks and we don't have devices on us. Right now, in the world of WebEx, you have devices, so you have access to all sorts of online tools, which I'm helping the students work through. So one of those online tools is, of course, our new learning management system, Canvas, which allows us to upload assignments in a multitude of ways to sort of cater to all the different devices that we're all dealing with. That's a huge plus, because in the spring, not everybody had devices, so some of the things that I tried to create just weren't possible for everybody. So now, almost everything that I design is going to be possible for everyone. Now, we're adjusting, because we're not always 100% sure how it will work with the 11 to 14-year-old bracket. So we're experiencing some changes in our curriculum on the fly, but please know that we are trying everything possible to try and connect with your students. One of the things that we're using this year is a lot more emphasis and focus on music theory. So they're writing notes, they're writing key signatures, they're writing rhythms, and they're uploading those ideas. Another thing that they're utilizing is this wonderful website called musictheory.net, which is filled with exercises pre-built, or I can create my own exercises to cater to exactly the needs of my students. We've been working on that to, once again, get better at note reading, get better at rhythms, to get better at key signatures. We all need these things anyway, and the remote learning component is much easier to manage that element of our curriculum. So that's terrific. Another thing that's a lot easier is having the ability to do research, whether it's composers or styles of music or time periods and how they influence music at that time. 20 years ago, when I was in my undergraduate degree, if I wanted to listen to music, I had to go to the music library, take out a CD, stay there, listen to it, take notes, go home. Now, as a conductor, if I want to see how somebody conducts Beethoven's Fifth, I just type that into YouTube and I can see 20 great performances around the world with different conductors, different styles, different orchestras. It gives us this incredible resource, which allows us to do different types of projects. So I guess my point is, for 2020, we can't recreate February. What was happening in February, I dearly miss. I loved rehearsing together. I loved playing together. There's nothing like the energy that we have in a room when we're rehearsing music and we're learning these techniques and these skills. That said, August 2020 does let us focus on some different things. So while we're in this particular format, we'll put a little extra focus on those things. That said, I know that the kids have to play music that connects them and it makes them feel like they're part of something besides themselves. So this is how we're rehearsing it. I'll play the violin part, then I'll play the viola part, then I'll play the cello part, then I'll play the bass part. We'll rehearse through a piece of music, and then I'll conduct it while they're playing it on their own. As the piece gets better, we finally get it up to tempo, then I have resources where it allows the recording to play in the background so it feels like they're playing with an orchestra. That's one component. Another component is this. If Beethoven was alive today, he'd be listening to the music of our time, whether it was Hamilton or whatever else it is that the kids are listening to. And he would say, that's a great melody. I'm going to write a piece based on that melody. I'll do some variations on it. So I'm just taking that model, which is from 1820, and applying it to 2020. So 200 years later, we're going to be listening to music, and then we'll be writing our own variations on it. Or at the very least, just writing down the melody. So if there's a song that the kids really enjoy listening to, we can just write out the melody, and then we can give that melody to the violins, the violas, the cellos, or the basses. And then I can build technique and exercises into that particular piece. For example, my 8-year-old doesn't love playing scales and doesn't love playing open strings, even though those are the best things for students to practice. He's not into it. He is into Super Smash Brothers. So I listened to the music, I wrote out the theme, and now I teach him that on the cello, which I can utilize for having great tone, which I can utilize for having the elbow at the right height, which I can utilize for clean and clear shifting, for intonation, for how to manage different rhythms, for what part of the bow to play in, how to have a great contact point. So I can embed this experience for him with all the technique necessary while he happily plays a theme that he loves as opposed to open strings and scales. So that's another element of the process that we'll be doing this year. Another thing, As we get better, we will do some recording projects where students record themselves, we put all the tracks together, and we make ourselves a virtual orchestra. Now, of course, all of our hope is that we all come back into the classroom and we can do things a little bit like the way it was, because that is definitely the best way for all of us to feel connected. It is the best way for all of us to listen. It is the best way for all of us to communicate. But in the meantime, this is what we're going to do. Added bonus, some of your kids are in double O. That's terrific. Double O is going to push them. They'll be confused a lot of the time. And they'll catch up, and I'll support them, of course, and I'll help them. In Indigo, they will be given lots of flexibility. One, we're going to review some things that they might be okay at. We're going to make them better at. What I'm going to remind them of is that when I was at the conservatory at 23 years old, I was still playing open strings. I was still working on my scales. I was still working on intonation. I was still working on listening. And the reason you still work on those things after 18 years of playing, or 20 years of playing, or now currently after 31 years of playing, is because your ears develop, your mind develops, and as you get good at one thing, my bow hole now knows what to do. I have free RAM to focus on different things. I can't focus on everything all at once. I have to break it down to the simplest model and then work my way up. So that'll be one of the things that we really focus on some of our more advanced students that are in Indigo, is that next level for them to personally aspire to. For all the folks that are brand new, we are here to support. If you're having problems uploading, please communicate. If you're having a hard time understanding, please communicate. If WebEx drops or your Wi-Fi goes away and you miss 20 minutes of class, please communicate. Just keep communicating. And in the meantime, stay positive, stay flexible, stay humble, and try and stay supportive. I think the more positive language we all use in this very challenging time is beneficial to demonstrate not only that we understand the challenges, but we support and understand that everybody is doing their best. So thanks so much for being part of this class. Thanks so much for taking the time out to watch the video and be here tonight at our virtual back to school night. And I'm wishing you all health, safety. Please remember to always be your best selves.